So for 4 years, I have been deployed on the project and working on the REST API development with the web services. Like we develop the web services for our client. My application is role and access management, which manages overall all the roles we have in the TCS application. And recently, from past 1 year, we have moved to Java 8 and the Spring Boot, as these are the advanced like technologies that we want to work upon. So we are in the progress in our project to migrate from the Java 7 to Java 8 and the Spring Boot application to develop the rapid application framework as early as possible.
Okay, great. So okay, total you have 5 years, but your relevant experience is 4 years. Am I
Yeah,
correct?
you can say like that. Yeah, because 1 year has been my training here.
That's fine. Okay, so what do you know? What are functional interfaces?
Yes, functional interfaces is the feature, Surya, that has been like introduced in the Java from Java 8. Basically, it is used to provide us the functionality to make our code more functional, Java code more functional and less compressed with the help of Lambda expression. So functional interfaces are like those which have only single method where we can provide the implementation of the particular in functional interface, there is only one single method, and with the Lambda expression, we can provide the implementation whenever is required.
Okay, good. So what is a polymorphism in Java?
Okay, polymorphism is like the concept involved from the inheritance. Basically, what happens in the inheritance, we extend it to various subclasses. So our one class, which is a parent class, which should be having a multiple form of behaviors. It should be able to adapt to a different form of behaviors as and when needed. So this is why we introduce with our child class to multiple polymorphic classes, which is our child classes, and this is how we can achieve the polymorphism. So there are two types of polymorphism, basically compiled in polymorphism uh, and the dynamic polymorphism, which is a runtime polymorphism.
Okay, so what is the difference between comparable and comparator?
Okay, comparable interface is the one which where we are performing the operation on the collection sorting. What happens when we use the comparable interface? We can do the sorting on the predefined like only on the one parameters with the help of compare to method. Whereas when we are doing with the comparator, we can perform the operations on the multiple parameters on such as name, ID, or the class, like whichever parameters we want to perform the operations, we can perform the multiple operation on the comparator interface. Also, with the comparator interface, you can use like that sorting whichever we want to use, and just by overriding the compare to method, we can use the particular sorting which we want to use.
Any more differences? If you remember.
If like we use only compare method, is there compared to method? That's what I'm remembering right now, Surya. But as I work upon it, I will be able to get to know that.
Okay. So, what are the methods available in the object class?
Okay. Yeah. So object class is the like from the library we have java.lang.object class. This class provides us the different functionalities such as the hash code, which provides us the hash code value in the form of integer format. There is equals method, which for which we can check the value of the particular parameter which we are comparing. Also, there are threads methods which are like wait operation, notify operation, notify all operation that we have in the object class. Yeah, this is what I am remembering currently.
What is serialization?
Serialization. Serialization is like when we are performing the operations on the networks. It is recommended that we on our objects we use the implementation of the serializable class. So what happens with the object output stream class? Sorry, of the right object method of the object output stream class, we can serialize our object, and then with the read while reading we can deserialize. So basically, it is recommended while we are performing on the networks of operation, it is recommended that we implement our class with the serializable interface.
Okay, so in serializable class, we write serial version UID.
Yes.
उसका क्या काम है serial version UID का?
Basically, it gives us the unique key. That's what I know, Surya, but not able to recall exactly. But yeah, it's like giving a specific key.
Okay, I have given you a program.
Okay.
So what would be the output? Now moving to the next set of questions. So,
yeah.
Do you know internal working of concurrent HashMap?
Yes, HashMap we were using first. What have used to happen? HashMap, there is a bucket of the linked list we store, like linked list buckets of linked list we stored in the for the storing the elements. Like each element stores the address of next element on the particular index. So by default, its size is 16. So what used to happen when we are performing the thread operations? See, concurrency operations with the use of the extending thread class or implementing the runnable interface. What used to happen, the lock while acquiring the on the hash map object, it used to be acquired on the whole object of the hash map. So the whole complete hash map object on which we are performing the operation will be locked for the particular thread. So what happens in the concurrent hash map, there is no restrictions while we are performing the read operations on the hash map object on a particular index. But like a read operation, and only the lock is acquired on the particular index on which we are performing the write operation. So that's how concurrent hash map works. That's what I know.
Okay, do you know what are where args?
Yes, it's like command. I have not used that much. I know there are 3 dots we give, and it's like a command line arguments. We can give as basically input as an array of the inputs in the command line, and this will be taken as an argument in the as a input array integer input array.
Right. Okay, do you also have experience in Spring? Okay, so if I talk about Spring Boot as well.
Yes, yes. From Spring, earlier, Surya, we used to work on the Spring MVC framework for REST API development. Now we are moving to the Spring Boot. So I have the basic idea, and I have used from 1 year, like from our project, like past 1 year.
Okay. So what is the starting class in Spring Boot?
The starting class is the root class. We use the annotation @Spring Boot application there, and that class, so that it is a root class, basically a root directory to scan each and every component that we are writing in the Spring framework.
So @Spring Boot application is a combination of 3 annotators.
Yes, yes, Surya.
What are those? If you remember,
so
what are
first
those?
one is, as I told, it is a root directory. So it will be @component scan. So I identify each and every component we are writing. It will be having @configuration to resolve each and every class that which are writing as a bean, and it has the enable auto configuration. So basically, the Tomcat server or the any services like dispatcher servlet that we are using in our Spring framework in the pom.xml file will be auto configured by the Spring Boot framework itself, if it is possible, with the dot class like file fetching. It can do that operation
Okay,
from the
fine.
class path.
So in Hibernate, if I'll ask some question from Hibernate. So what is the difference between get and load?
Okay. Actually, I have not used that much on the Hibernate. I have been working on the JDBC framework for connection with the database. So, what can you please repeat your question? I will try to answer as much as possible because the JDBC connection I have been using. I
Okay,
would
okay.
be comfortable using Hibernate also, but I would require time a little bit. At
Okay,
least, yeah, you can
okay,
ask.
that is not an issue. So I was asking if you remember, you can answer what is the difference between
Uh-huh.
get hibernate session dot get and dot load. So these
Okay,
two methods are used to get the value from database, but there is a slightly difference.
okay. Sorry, Surya. At this moment, I am not able to.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
So, so should I go with question for Hibernate or should I skip? If you don't know, then we should not dig into this.
yeah. You
Like,
can
if,
ask on JDBC connection, but it's like Hibernate. I have not worked upon, but it's like I can shift to Hibernate if it is possible in your project. It will not take much time for me to switch on the JDBC framework to Hibernate. That's what is the case.
okay,
But currently,
what
I'm
are
not.
the,
Yeah.
okay, general question I will ask. So, what are the advantages of Hibernate over JDBC? So, you are using JDBC,
Yes.
definitely you will be facing some issues. That's why Hibernate has come into the picture. So, what
Hmm.
is the benefit of using Hibernate?
The main benefit I know is like it's mapping of the uh, SQL classes, SQL tables which we have in our database directly with the Java classes, which is not possible while we are writing in the JDBC framework. In
Hmm.
JDBC, we write the complete query and then only we execute the operation, and after that only we get the particular operation performed on the SQL table after writing a complete query. But with the Hibernate, I know that it's like mapping of the columns of the tables directly with the Java class objects.
Mhm. So, you know about the Hibernate entity states of
At the
Hibernate.
rate entity we use to identify that class as the table. That's what I know. Yeah.
What is primary key and what is unique key?
Primary key is like not null and the unique to the table. Unique
Hmm.
key may be null. That's what I am remembering. Yeah. Not able to recall exactly, but that's what I think. Primary key, it's like it is unique and also not null. Both constants are there on the primary key.
Okay, so what is DDL and DML?
Data definition language is like alter command we are having, or
Hmm.
the insert command, like basically defining the database such as insert operation or the data definition language. So insert will be there, alter will be there, uh, and DML is like performing the operations on the table. So data manipulation such as update query will be there, uh, and the
Hmm.
update as well as insert query will be in data AML, DML, sorry, and the alter command will be in the DDL, and the create command will be in DDL. Yeah.
Hmm. Okay, so what is the difference between delete and truncate?
Okay. So with the delete operation, the entire values that we are having in the table will be deleted, but the structure of the table that we have, basically the keys and the structure that we have of the table, will not be removed. But with the truncate, I think it will be completely removed. That complete structure of the elements that we have for the table will be removed.
Hmm. Okay, so in Spring, what module you have used?
We are using the MVC module
Mhm.
for the REST API development. And JDBC template we use, and the Spring JDBC template connection with the data abstraction layer. Spring
Mhm.
beans we use to declare our beans. Uh, yeah, and Spring Core, of course, because to manage the annotations and the bean configurations. So that's what.
So what is IOC?
Yeah, inversion of control is the container actually to manage the objects of the Spring Beans. So
Mhm.
whatever classes we are having, so what is happened in the inversion of control, it is a container which is to provide the Spring. So basically the advantage of Spring is to provide a loosely coupled application. So whenever our class requires any object to be perform the operation, we basically they inverse the control from the compiler class itself to the bean Spring container, which is the IOC container. So what happens whenever the bean is required, we provide the particular bean to the object with the use of course, auto add annotations, or you can give the class name there. And this way, it is like inversion of control from the Java classes, removing the dependency of the Java classes. We are now shifting our dependency to the XML file or with the help of annotation, so that our code are loosely coupled and can be managed accordingly.
Okay, so bean loading is a eager operation or lazy operation?
Bean loading is the lazy operation. Yeah, when we are calling, when we're using auto add annotation. No. 1 second. It's the eager operation, because at the time of loading itself, it will search for the bean. That's what I know. Like when we compile our code, it searches for the beans with the auto add annotations. So yeah, it will be eager operation.
Okay, so what are the scopes of bean?
Scopes of the bean, I know singleton is the
Mm-hmm.
singleton is one
Right.
where we provide only one instance for each and every calling of the bean. Prototype is like it should provide the clone of the object of the particular bean whenever we are referring to the object. That's what I know.
Mm. Okay, that's fine. Okay. Have you also worked on a Spring or AOP?
EOP I haven't worked upon. So yeah.
Okay, so you have used JDBC template.
Yes, yes.
So what is the benefit of using this template?
So basically, it is while we are using the connections, once we have created the connection in the JNDI object, we can directly use the uh, its dependency of the JDBC connection. I think the benefit will be like we can write the query when you are comfortable with the SQL queries. You will directly able to write the SQL queries directly in the uh, Java code, which we are writing in the repository class. And this way, it will be easy and the form of SQL syntax format to write the queries. When we are writing it, it is easy to write in the syntactical format in the game of SQL. So
Mhm.
that's what I think is the more benefit of the JDBC.
Okay. Hmm. So you know what is trigger?
Trigger, no, I haven't worked upon that yet. So yeah.
Mhm.
I know
So
it's like when we are calling a particular case of SQL query, when the particular trigger is called, will be executed. But I haven't yeah, worked upon that. Yeah.
mhm. Okay, so you have also experience in Angular? Do you have?
AngularJS, I have been initially trained in the TCS on the first 2 years. So I have the basic idea like how to call the REST API called like $HTTP service that we use to call the REST API from the front end.
But okay, you have idea how to create a component or
Yes,
module.
but right now it's like when like
It's,
more of the time I have not worked upon the AngularJS, but
okay.
understanding the code is possible. Yeah.
Mhm. So, so nowadays every company is trying to move their monolithic application into microservices. Okay.
Yes.
So what are the benefits microservices provides?
Yeah, basically what happens when we are developing the complete application on the monolithic architecture, that's what we are doing also. So what happens when a single class or like a single configuration of a server gets disturbed in the production environment as well, the whole service or a whole application will be dependent on that particular project because it is running on the same server architecture. So it's like complete monolithic architecture, and all the configurations of the Spring framework as well as the servers which we are maintaining for the production, each and everything will be dependent on only one server configuration. So what happens with the Spring, that is microservice architecture, it's like we have the different services, like a small services which we are
Mhm.
managing differently. The uh, each and every service will have its specific job to do. So in this way, what will be there, like if one service is also not working, basically I know there is a historic server I know that we inject the dependency of historic server to get a dashboard to
Mhm.
see why particular service is running or not, and with the API gateway we can connect each and every service efficiently. That's what I know, Surya. So we have not worked upon microservices, but I know in future we are going to work on microservices itself, because it's
Mhm.
like we are like have this single service. It's basically a complete Spring Boot project only that we are managing differently and connecting it with the web services.
Mhm. Good, good. Okay, Akshay, I'm done from my side. Okay,
Okay.
so it was really nice talking to you.
Yeah,
Do you have a
and
question
thanks,
for me?
Surya. You have been really patient to hear me out. I really appreciate that. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, have a good day. Bye.